Hello, this is Annette with Project Refine Life. Welcome to my channel and the June 2024 monthly wrap-up. We already passed halfway mark of this year and it is just flying by. So many things are changing, so many things are happening. There's been this huge shift within my own personal practice. I have felt it coming on for quite some time now, and that's a beautiful thing. Change is what we're supposed to do. June was filled with quite a few things. We celebrated our youngest daughter's 14th birthday. There was summer solstice. We're doing back to school shopping, a lot of Zoom meetings, a lot of required trainings that I'm going through. One of the really fun things was going to Phoenix Art Museum during one of their first Friday events where the museums are open, and Phoenix Art Museum participates in this every few months throughout the year. It was Pride Month, so we got a really special treat that we did not expect, which was a drag show. So there was 3 locals from within the area. One of them was portraying Selena, the other Mariah Carey, and the other one was Diana Ross. It was a blast. All the seats were taken. People were standing up around the area. It was just so much fun. I really enjoyed it. And then afterwards we got to walk around the museum and it was just a really, really great time. In addition, they had this little collage making thing going on. I'm hoping that you can see this without all the glare, but they had a bunch of magazines available and you were just able to make a collage on a button and then they sealed it for you. I put too many layers, so this bottom part or this top part just wouldn't stick in there, but this is Tolak, which is a water god. And being that we are in monsoon season, I just thought that that was a really good find. I'm gonna share with you the things that I purchased this month. So I got this, which is Incantations Embodied by Kimberly Rodriguez. I have been waiting for this book for such a long time. I just really started to read the book, but I follow her on Instagram. I also follow her on YouTube, and she just offers some really beautiful, beautiful words. Her art, this is all her here. Her art is really pretty, and I did ask her a question. I said, hey, with all this art and all these beautiful quotes that you have and these words of affirmation and reclamation and everything, like, are you going to be creating an oracle deck? And she said yes. So I'm really excited for that. She's already in negotiation for an oracle deck, so hopefully that is something that's going to be coming up. I am going to be reading through this in the month of July. This book is filled with affirmations and then spaces for journaling and spaces just to slow down and give yourself a little bit of thought. I'll take a look right here at the contents just so you can get an idea. So part 1 is dispellings, part 2 is cultivate, part 3 is revelation, and part 4 is expression. All of these really unfolding conversations about how to come back to you. So I'm really excited about this book. Another thing that I got this month is the Black Violet Tarot. I did a full walkthrough on this deck. I really, really like this deck. It is so cool. It's a great price because now it's mass market, and I like it. I like this deck a lot. It's black and white, and some people don't really enjoy the whole black and white thing, but I think there's so much depth within a black and white deck. And at first when I did my walkthrough, I don't think I really even related to the or referred to the guidebook. The guidebook is really good, but to be honest, I don't really even feel like you need it, but it is good. I do enjoy the guidebook as well. I've been working with it and I really like it. The pairings that I have on my unboxing video are good, but I found a couple others that I will be sharing with you today, which are a little bit of a surprise even for me because I didn't expect to pair them up with that. The other deck that I bought is a Pocket of Vines Tarot. I did an unboxing of this, so if you want to go and check it out. I had mentioned on my video that they The minors are numbered because they say the numbers here, but the majors are not. So I went through with an erasable pin and just put the numbers on the bottom of the deck. I checked to see if I wrote on one of these cards, could I erase it? And it came off just fine. So it gave me the courage to just go ahead and number the majors to see when I start working with it, because I wanted to wait for July, because I wanted to give Black Violet my attention. And so I'm going to see if that'll help me kind of connect. I think I get it. I'm sure I'm going to get it. I'm sure it's going to be fine. But sometimes I do like using the numeric associations as well. Not that I always do that, but I think it's kind of neat to bring that in, especially since I'm working with Mayan cosmology and working with the energy of the day. So that all kind of ties in sometimes. So that was it. Those were my purchases for the month. Now I am surrounded in decks on my desk here. So we're going to try to go through this and just look at some of my favorite pairings, because I think if I just show you every deck, I think it's just going to be too much. So in my journals, I always started off with the Mayan cosmology calendar. So it's attached to the Gregorian calendar so that I can see what the energy of the day is every day. And right here is a brief explanation of that energy of the day. You can find this on Mark Elmy. That's his YouTube channel, but also I think it's 4pillars.net. I'll put his links below. Wonderful channel and wonderful source of information for Mayan cosmology. I always include a Mayan goddess of the month, and I work with that energy throughout the month. I usually place the card or something on a little altar space right here at my desk, and I utilize that energy throughout the month. So this is my goddess for the month. Now, I'm working with a lot of Mayan cosmology and energy. Plus, I'm also working with my yogic concepts as well. And I integrate the two. So with that being said, I utilize both energies to fuel where my practice is going and how I'm teaching. So in this particular reading, or through these readings, through the beginning of the month, I was working with a concept referred to as spanda, which is the pulsation, expansion, and contraction on a subconscious level, on an inner level. It's not really a physical concept. It's more within a very quiet vibration that creates energy. And so my job is to get this concept, to get this motion, this vibration, and make it a physical practice so that my yoga students can work with that, whether or not they know it. Some of my classes I do explain it, and others I don't, because it's not necessary, because I'm creating flows to enhance that feeling. And maybe I'm talking about things throughout the practice, whether or not I'm mentioning the actual word or not. So spanda comes from the Sanskrit word root, and it means to move a little, and it's usually translated to mean movement, motion, or vibration. So when I'm working with these concepts, of course, I dig in a little bit deeper on my end, and then things translate here into my journal so that I have a reference point when I'm looking back at to what I did during that particular month, and referring to the asana practice as well as meditation, breath work, and then I integrate tarot as well. So for this particular practice and for this particular theme, I utilized the telluric tarot, which is not actually a tarot at all. Whoops, I am moving everything. I'm just pulling everything here. It's because I'm really crowded on my desk. So this was a gift that was sent to me in that really big box. If you haven't seen my new to me video, please go take a look, because I was gifted all these beautiful decks, and I still have a bunch of decks in there to work with. So I took this, I put this in order, and I was thinking, oh, it's such a lovely deck. I know everybody uses it as an oracle, but maybe I could use it as a tarot, and I really can't. And it says it right here. It says the Telluric Tarot, an oracle of stones and plants. It says it right there. I was just trying to be stubborn, I guess. But anyhow, with that whole idea of vibration, of movement, of working together in unison within the body to allow that vibration to steer you, to move you, I thought that the journey of the sacred bee, because it involves that sacredness, that community, that humming. And I was working with bee's breath within my classes as well. So I just thought this was a perfect deck to work with within those concepts. And these two paired up so nicely, so good. I really loved the energy between these two decks. It was amazing. Seriously, seriously amazing. So this was one of my favorite pairings while working with this particular concept. So that's the journey of the sacred bees and the Telluric Tarot. Amazing. Very, very great combination. Now I'm going to put these down, and then I'm just going to deal with the mess afterwards so that I can just keep going and keep walking you through my journal and what I was working with this month. So as you can see, this is a whole conversation here about bees breath, the benefits, and even though I know how to do bees breath, I love documenting it all in my journal. One day, maybe my girls will pick up these journals and maybe they'll want to read through it and understand what the heck was mom doing at that time. Well, they can follow it along here. Now, this particular new moon in Gemini came right at the beginning of the month, and I was using a ritual that was set forth in the Substack from the creator of Be With Your Body Tarot. I love Be With Your Body Tarot. It's one of my favorite decks. I really like working with that. It's such a... I'll describe it in just a little bit more when I get into it. But anyhow, she was working along with the new moon in Gemini and manifesting for Palestine. So I just thought that that was such a wonderful way of working with this energy. And so I really dedicated some time to that as well. And just working with the Be With Your Body Tarot and also the Textured Tarot, which I hadn't brought out in a little while. So that was really, really nice. Now here, again, just working with the energy of the day. And I think this day and this time, I didn't pull any cards. It's just journaling and just feeling and just being and just documenting what I was feeling while I was going through that. And now this was just some energy to keep in mind for the overall week. So I pulled out my little mini deck, and this is a full-size copy of my little mini cards of the Everyday Witch Tarot. Is that what it is? The Everyday Witch? I feel like I've got the name wrong, but anyhow, I'll put the name right below the screen here. I hadn't worked with it as far as journaling is concerned in quite some time, and it was really nice to do that. I usually keep this deck within my purse and then draw some cards if I'm waiting for a class or something. When we're on the go, that's the one that I have. Okay, so here we stepped into a 7-day chakra challenge. I'm saying we as if there's somebody else here. It's not, it's just me and you. But the online yoga classes that I take was sponsoring or had a 7-day chakra challenge. So we were working with mantras, mudras, and also yoga flows that had to do with a specific chakra. So I decided that every day for those 7 days that I was really going to get into journaling and collaging for that specific chakra, and even trying to eat things that were related to that specific chakra. So like on this day, I had like a strawberry protein shake in the morning. And so things like that were really easy to work with. But I also tried to match the overall energy of the day. So for this particular day, for the root chakra, what I was dealing with, let me move some of these decks. I cannot even find space here. So for the root chakra, I decided that I wanted to work with the Tarot of Precious Twigs, because to me, this is such a rooted and grounded tarot deck. It is really, this is such a beautiful deck, and you don't need the guidebook. I know that it's in French, and you can use Google Translate to translate it, and I did do that. It is a beautiful translation. The words within the guidebook are really pretty, but I really don't need them for this deck. It is so beautiful, it's so grounded, and you can feel so much energy from this particular deck. I truly, truly like this deck. It is so good. I love how grounded it is. And you know, that's another thing, like just recently, there's another deck that came out and I was kind of interested in it. I really was. There was some things that were kind of holding me back, but it's called the Earth Woman Tarot. It's a very pretty deck, but there's no faces on the images. And what I liked about it is like the grounding, overall grounding energy of it. But then I thought, I have this deck and I really truly love this deck. It's so good. I love the images. I love that some of these are yogic type poses or stances, and energetically, like there's things that she's doing with her hands in this deck that I just completely relate to. Just working with your body and utilizing, see this right here, this reminds me of mountain pose, where you're just grounding in and utilizing that energy. So anyhow, for that reason, all of that just to tell you that this is the deck that I chose to work with for the root chakra. So that was fun, and it was a lot because it was 7 days straight, and I would get up early and just start working on my collage work. So I would have my things printed the day before, and then I would sit here and listen to some of the chanting and start working on my collage, and then I would start working on this and then utilize my tarot practice, or not my tarot, but my asana practice as well to ground in all of this. So for the sacral chakra, I wanted to work with the ritual tarot. And the ritual tarot for me is so creative. It is so inspiring. So I really felt like when I was looking through my collection, that this one for me just had this fire, you know, this sense of passion and creativity. I really love this deck, and I know that right now she has her Oracle deck on Kickstarter. So you might want to take a look at that if you're interested in that. I'm trying not to back things right now. I'm trying to to behave. I've got other things, and I am buying, as you can see, I am buying things here and there, but I am trying to be very, very cautious with my money. So this was the deck that I chose for the sacral chakra work. And every day I was pulling questions from one of my tarot books and just looking at what was available as far as the journaling prompts were concerned, and then using some of those questions as some of my questions. This is the Tarot Healer, and I know I'm kind of going back and forth, but I forgot to bring it out, and I did want to show you guys how I was working with it and how I was kind of coming up with some of the questions that I was utilizing. So the Tarot Healer book is working through the chakras for tarot, and I was just simply going through some of her tarot spreads within here and just choosing certain ones to go ahead and create my spreads. This is the Munay-Ki chakra, the solar plexus chakra. And again, this is all about empowerment. So for this particular deck, for me, what spoke to me that day, I'm pulling the wrong deck here. Let me get it out. They're right here. They're stacked right here. I'm telling you, I have so much on my desk right now. I pulled out the Nature and Soul Wisdom cards, and then also the Herb Crafters. Herb Crafters is one of my very, very favorite decks. I absolutely love this deck. And I think you guys have heard it many, many times from me. But I felt like this, for me, is empowerment and connection. Because this is my connection to my loved ones, to those who have gone on, and the medicine that they supplied for me, for everybody that I surround myself with. And then this, the Nature and Soul Oracle cards, is a yoga deck, but it has really deep meanings within the guidebook. It's not too long. The guidebook isn't too big, but it's enough to really anchor into that feeling and the idea of that pose. If you're not familiar with yoga, I like these two together because this was like my creation, my magic, how I'm spreading light into the world. And then this was from those that have passed these other types of medicines down to me as well. And then just shining that light, combining these and shining that light and allowing it to move forward. So for me, working with these two, it just felt right. And now, you know, like I'm looking at some of these, it's like, well, that was an interesting choice, Annette. Why'd you do that? But as I'm talking about it now I remember the reason for the choices that I made. And let's see here. So next, of course, we're dealing with the heart chakra, Anahata. And for me, of course, my most beloved deck is the Gentle Tarot. And there's nothing that speaks to the heart the way that the Gentle Tarot does for me. I absolutely adore this deck. And the Wisdom de Alma had to come out too, because the Wisdom de Alma is not only aesthetically, they look great together, they read great together, but the Wisdom de Alma has a very strong voice. It's not coming from a place where she is shy, and she is caring for her own emotions as well as others. It's not just about the people that surround you, it is about you. So this complete reading was really beautiful because it was a reminder to stay true to yourself, to love yourself. I am deserving of my love. I am my own beloved. I mean, see, it's things like that that pair up, when paired up with the Gentle Tarot. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. See, like this one, I am still a badass, anxiety and all. I really, really love these two together, and I love the idea of working with these two together for the heart chakra. They were wonderful, really, really good. And guys, I am losing sunlight, so I am trying. I'm trying to move these things off quickly. All right, the next chakra was the throat chakra. And for the throat chakra, guys, there is no way that when Olga speaks wasn't going to be right in here for this reading. Another deck that I love with when Olga speaks is the Guided Hand Tarot. These two create such a lovely, supportive, and direct voice. So I really love these two together. Really love them. They're so good. And it didn't take me too much or too long on that morning to decide I am working with Olga, or I am working with when Olga speaks, because she has a voice. She's going to be heard. And she's not shy. She gets her point across, but she's doing it with love in her heart. So I loved working with these two together. She's not mean, she's just forward. And I like that. I like Olga. She's cool. So that was When Olga Speaks and the Guided Hand Tarot. The next chakra was the third eye. And for the third eye, the first thing that came to my mind is the Shimmering Veil Tarot. Because this is that point of knowing, of hearing, of being present enough to be understood. Now, one thing that I have failed to mention this whole time is that while I was working with every single chakra, I was also working with the Tolku Oracle. Every day I would pull the chakra card and use it for my meditation. So every day I was working with one of the 7 chakra cards. And on this day, I went ahead and pulled this as well. And as you can see, again, oh my goodness, these two are beautiful because all of them come from a different space and time. All of them come from a place where you really need to be receptive to hearing and receiving messages, to being present and to understanding, to know that what you're receiving is true. It takes some focus, and it takes a point of being able to work through some of your other chakras in order to get to this place as well. So I really, really enjoyed working with the Shimmering Veil and this one together. They were really phenomenal together. And then the last chakra is, of course, the crown chakra. And the crown chakra is different because it's just a matter of letting yourself go and just not only like aligning the rest of the chakras, but allowing it to be felt by others. And for me, that type of energy felt and then also received. For me, this is all about like that Reiki energy, where you're receiving from a source that's much grander than you. So for this, I use just the Dream Dust Shamanic Tarot. And the Dream Dust Shamanic Tarot, like seriously, all you need from this deck is one card. You don't need any more than that. I did choose 3, but this deck, this all comes from a much higher place than we are set in our current time and space. This is such a beautiful deck. This is one of my favorites, seriously. But it doesn't come out all that often just because the energy is so elevated with this deck. It is amazing. It's truly an amazing deck. So that was my 7-day chakra challenge. And I was just feeling a little like, wow, that was simply amazing. So at that point, I was ready to get to work with my Black Violet Tarot. I didn't want to get to work with this before my 7-day chakra challenge was up. I wanted to wait. And of course, I worked with it with one of the decks that I mentioned on my video, which is the Narrative Alchemy. And as you can see, it's just these plain colors with this beautiful keyword right in the middle, and you could use it as a tarot or oracle or just involve all of these elements in. So of course that one was kind of to be expected. But one of the decks that I worked with alongside it was, and this was kind of a surprise to me, but I looked over and I thought, hey, wait a minute, how about that one? So this is the Prairie Majesty Oracle deck. This is the this is the indie, but it is available mass market. Look at the backs together. I don't know what the backs look like on the mass market edition, but hopefully they're kind of like that. Oh, wait a minute. These are those extra cards, the elemental cards. These two, you guys, oh my goodness. These two work so good together. I did want to work together with the dirt gems alongside the black violet. I know they're going to work together. I never got to them because I was working with these two. I have another deck that I'm going to be shifting into at the beginning of July, but I am going to be coming back to the Black Violet Tarot, and it is such a beautiful and easy read and really just allows you to focus on the image and kind of dig in a little bit. It kind of reminds me in a sense of not as dynamic as the Wild Unknown as far as the line work, but there are little things that indicate the movement of energy or how the energy is being focused or worked with. So you can see the ripples here within the pond. I don't know, I pay attention to all of that. And I just feel like these two were just beautiful together. I mean, look at them together. They are phenomenal. They worked so well. I really, really loved this pairing. But I do want to work with it alongside some other decks, and I'm looking forward to it because I'm really impressed by the Black Violet Tarot. There is a certain type of energy and communication that I can clearly feel. I don't know if it's like the whole, you know, loss and birth, and I understand that concept at the same time and how maybe she was feeling. I just really felt connected to the Black Violet Tarot, like a lot. So Juneteenth came around and I really wanted to work with something that just spoke to me in a different way. And Hoodoo Tarot is one of those decks that I haven't worked with for a while, but I've always loved. I did a month-long study on this deck and I really enjoyed that practice. So this is the Southern Gothic and this is the Hoodoo Tarot, and there's just enough, what would I say, like brightness within the Southern Gothic to make all of these other images just pop and just speak. And there's just a certain likeness within both of them. It was a really fantastic pairing, and it spoke to me in a very different way than most of the pairings that I have worked. I had never worked with these two together, and if you have these two, like, try them out together because it just reads so very differently. It was really, really an amazing read for me. I really liked it. But Southern Gothic it's an amazing deck. I really like it. I think this is my favorite really so far from Stacy, but I do have a tarot deck coming in from her and I'm really excited about that. That is one of those decks that I just can't wait for, and one of the Kickstarters that I actually did back this year. That's the only one that I've done so far. Summer Solstice. Summer Solstice is an extremely important day for me, and I really wanted to be within that energy. I didn't do any tarot readings for this. This was more about the whole idea and the concept of solstice, and really allowing my students to feel this practice. 108 Salutations was not on the agenda for my classes. However, we did do variations of sun salutations as much as we could do within that class and within that structure for that particular class. So again, I continued on with my collaging. I really, really am enjoying doing this in this respect and just pulling out and cutting things out and putting them all in there. And I really focused more on drumming and a journey that contained that drumming as well. Now, for the full moon in Capricorn, I really didn't focus too much into the astrological part of this moon. I really went back to my more basics. And so I was focused on the strawberry moon and the strawberry teachings of the moon, because the strawberry teachings relate a lot to the womb. And since it's a full moon, it's more within that womb type of healing. So I really wanted to focus in on that energy more than anything else. And I did do a tarot reading, again, one that I feel is deeply, deeply rooted within that female type energy, which is a story medicine tarot. This is the first edition, and it has a completely different energy than the animal wisdom type deck. So again, I paired it up with the Prairie Majesty Oracle because I was just really digging this deck this month, and I was working still with that sun and moon energy as well. Again, I came back to the Black Violet, and again, Prairie Majesty. And then here, right at the end of the month, and I think it was just the particular energy of the day within the Mayan cosmology that caused me to go ahead and work with the Song of the Grandmothers, which is a beautiful deck, and I hadn't worked with it in a while, but it's just beautiful. And surprise, this is another one that I hadn't worked with in a bit, and they worked so beautifully together. And we're talking about the Asherah Tarot. These look lovely together. Oh my goodness, what a beautiful reading. And I loved the way that the art works with each other. I love the way that the messages related. It was really, really a nice surprise, because again, something else that I had not paired up before, and I really liked the way that they both worked. So I was able to, again, dig into what I already have, because plain and simple, I don't know why it's such a big revolution for me, but because I'm not buying a bunch of decks. So I'm able to really focus in more on what I currently have within my collection already. So it's really working for me. It really is. I don't know, maybe next year it'll be different, but for now, this is where I need to be, not only financially, but mentally. It's really been good for me. And then here, this was the last day of the Trecena. I was teaching 2 classes on Saturday, so I worked with Be With Your Body Tarot, because this is such a standby for me, and it really does help direct me in that arena. And you know what? I pulled the cards, and I really didn't do a reading on it, but I just felt the energy and felt like, okay, where do I need to go with this practice today? And based on that, within this morning, based on this pull and what I was feeling, I went ahead and created a quick little flow for my classes that morning, and I was at my 8 o'clock class with a flow in mind. And then we walked into a new Trecena, and I just pulled a couple of cards. I haven't even finished journaling here about this particular Trecena because we're still in it. We just started it. This is the last day of the month. And so I pulled a couple of cards. This one is from the Song of the Grandmothers, and then this one is from, oh my goodness, the Mystical Shaman. Yeah, because it's all about fire energy right now. And then we're stepping into July. So that was it, guys. And I don't think I showed you guys all the decks that I worked with, but I showed you guys most of them. Guys, I appreciate you so much. Thank you for sticking in with me. And we made it. We beat the moon coming up before the sun went down. So thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate you, and I will see you later.